So as you know, the car is broken down. My job as the father, as the man of the Airbnb, to call all the mechanics in the area and try and find a place so that we could fix the car and possibly go home and give this car back to my absolutely gorgeous Captain Birdseye, brother-in-law. At approximately 8 a.m, I called this obscure number that I found in a booklet in the glove box of my car. I feel like I may have upset the man on the other end of the phone, because I called him and I said hello, and he went, "Oh, g'day." And I think I may have woken him up. And then I said, "Is this the John McGrath insurance?" And he's like, "No, this is the blah, blah, blah insurance, whatever. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm looking to get my car fixed. I'm holidaying in Queensland. And he's like, "Well, you're going to have to call John McGrath." So then I called John McGrath and I said to the poor girl whose name was Shazza, I said, "Shazza," and she said, "Yes, this is John McGrath and Ford." And I said, "Is that Mr. McGrath?" She said, "I hope not." I said, "Can I get my car fixed? Will it void the warranty or something?" And she said, "Oh no, just get it fixed wherever and we can work out the extended warranty later." And I said, "Oh, thanks, Shazza." And she's like, "My name's John." So I opened up Google Maps and I typed, "Good mechanic to fix car, please." And the first one I called was Springwood Complete Automatic Services. Highly recommended. Very friendly. I've written here. I've got some notes. I explained what the hell was going on. I said, "Oh mate, look, I've got this Cougar." And he's like, "Oh, we're pretty booked up today." I'm like, "Oh, is your name John too?" And he's like, "Yeah, my name's John." All mechanics are named John, apparently. He said to take it to Ford because the computers are a bit wonky and really complicated, and then Ford would be able to fix it quicker. And I said, "Oh, okay, thanks very much for that." And he's like, yeah, it's fine. And at 8:18 a.m, I called Q Ford in Springwood. Very friendly, highly recommended. I talked to some lovely lady who was awake this time, which was wonderful. And she said the earliest that they can do is Wednesday, which is wonderful. And I said, "That's not good because we need to leave tomorrow." And she's like, "That's okay." And I said, "I'll just call around all of the different mechanics." And she said, "Lovely." And I said, "Thanks, Shazza." And she's like, "No, my name's John." Actually, no. Actually, she said, "There's another Ford place that's about 10 to 15 minutes drive away." And I said, "Do you reckon my car will live that long?" And she's like, "I hope so." And she was very serious about it. I called this other guy and he said, "G'day." And I said, "Oh, is this the other Ford place?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're the other Ford place." And I said, "Long story short, I'm looking to get my car fixed. We're holidaying in Queensland. I have a Ford Cougar that seems to be not working. Do you fix cars?" And he said, "Yeah, we fix cars." And then there was an awkward silence. One of many. The earliest that they could do was Wednesday. And so then I called Springwood Mechanical Services, or SMS for short. I gave them a call instead of sending them an SMS message. And they said the earliest was Wednesday. I didn't write any notes for this one, so I don't know if they were friendly or not, but everyone I talked to was quite friendly, except for that first guy who was a bit tired. He was a bit cranky. I think I may have woken him up. Okay, it's probably in Perth, where it was 4 a.m. Anyway, then I called Whatland Smash Repairs and Mechanical. And I talked to a lovely young lady named Shazza. She was delightful. I said, "Hello, Shazza." And she went, "How do you know my name?" She said that the earliest that they could do was Wednesday. And I'm like, "Oh, that's the best offer I've had all week." And she said, "Oh, can I book you in?" She said, "Oh, can I book you in?" And I said, "No." I said, "Do you have any mechanic friends, not mechanical friends, but mechanic friends who are really eager to work on a Ford Cougar and find out what's wrong with it?" And she said, "Yes, I do. I have a friend named Zell." And I went, "Mel?" And she said, "No, Zell." I went, "Zell? Does this person maybe fix cars with crystals?" I called Zell. He didn't answer, but I left a message. I said, "Oh, Crystal. No, her name was Crystal." That's why I thought Zell was crystals. Yeah, no, there's the connection. Anyway, I left a message saying, "Zell, guess what? Your best friend Crystal recommended you." He didn't answer. All was well. I don't know what Zell is short for. Zealous, maybe? Who knows? Then I called Southside Auto Services Parts and Repair. No answer. Then I called PST Automotive Services. They were very friendly. And they said nothing this week. Then I called BMS Automotive. Very, very friendly. The guy was keen to learn all about the car. All the mechanics that I talked to were really keen about finding out what was wrong with the car and doing this, which is weird, right? So the mechanics, they're professionals that you call up and say, "Hey, there's something wrong with my car." And then they're genuinely interested. Even though they can't fit you in this week, they're like, "I want to know what's wrong with the car." And so you tell them the symptoms and everything. But it's not like you call the doctor and that happens. You don't call the doctor and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any appointments." And then they say, "Well, so what seems to be the problem?" And you're like, "Well, there's this green ooze coming out of my left ear." And they're like, "Oh, very interesting. Does it start and stop?" Is your radiator leaking? No. I've got to keep going because this video is going to be way too long. So they said they're super busy. He's just a one-man show. Absolutely top-notch fellow. BMS Automotive. Highly recommended in Springwood. Then I called the import service center. It's like I called them and it was like brr, brr, and then a robot voice answered and said, "This is Telstra. We are monitoring this phone line. Please say your name and press hash to continue." It is weird. What was that meaning? Anyway, then I said, "Simon?" And then I pressed the hash button. So it's really funny because the other person on the other end presumably gets a message of me saying, "Simon?" The guy answered and he was really confused as much as I was to be met on the phone with him, which is probably why, now that I think about it, he probably heard me say, "Simon?" Anyway, he said, "G'day." And I went, "Oh, hi, it's Simon here. Quick story. I got my car. They were holiday in Queensland. Cars are broken, blah, blah, blah. Could you fix cars?" And he's like, "Yeah, we fix cars." And I said, "Is this a mechanic?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're a mechanical shop." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm looking around, trying to find a place who can fix my car right now." He said, "Oh, let me just go and ask the mechanic." And so then I heard these noises of somebody walking on concrete. And then this drilling sound, this sound of drilling into metal got louder and louder and louder. And then I hear in the background, "Oh yeah, this guy's got a cougar. He's got to go. Do you want to do it?" And the guy's like, "Nah." And so then I got back on the phone with him and he's like, "You still there?" And then he said, "Oh, we're all full up this week. No time in. Sorry about that, mate." Very friendly, of course. So I quickly hung up and said, "Thank you very much." No, I said, "Thank you very much," then hung up. Then I called the Kima Springwood Service Centre, the hold music. It was great. Wonderful hold music. I think it actually might have been in the Hall of the Mountain King. You know that song? Which is terrible hold music because it just makes you feel like, ever-increasing tension is coming. After that, we had some success. I called a guy named Lazarus Mobile Mechanic because he brings cars back from the dead, mobilely. He was fantastic. I didn't actually catch his name. I think his name was Clayton. To give you a general sense of Clayton, who am I calling him now? Highly recommended. I had a conversation with him for like an hour. It was great. And we talked about PSI and cars and carburetors and I had no idea what he was talking about. But to give you an idea of what he was like, he's kind of like a cross between Thomas the Tank Engine and the Fat Controller, but in the best possible way, like your really nice but grumpy uncle. Absolutely wonderful. He said he can come out and diagnose the car right now today. So I said, that'd be great. That'd be wonderful. So then I called back that lady from the beginning at Q Ford and I said, "Hi, I'd like to book it in for Wednesday." And she wasn't there. It was some other guy who was quite helpful and a little bit confused because at that point I was getting a little bit delirious and my whole story had changed. So I had to explain to him the story and I said, "I'm holidaying in Queensland. I got attacked by a cougar and now I need to get my car fixed." Because my car is a cougar. Kuga. Don't tell my wife. Lazarus, he said he would come and do it. Lazarus. I'm just going to call him Lazarus. I mean, he had a biblical figure. I'm not sure what that means, but it was very exciting. He said he found 2 faults. We were sitting in the thing. He had to plug the little $8,000 laptop iPad thingy diagnostic tool into the car and then turn the button on. But don't turn the engine on, just the ignition, which means that there's a boodaloo, boodaloo, boodaloo sound constantly. Doesn't stop. So he was talking to me as if that sound wasn't around. Like boodaloo. And he's having a chat. He's like, "Yeah, you just got to wait for it to boot up. It'll be great, mate. It'll be wonderful. We'll have a look. We'll see what a diagnosis is." It's driving me nuts. Apparently, it's the fuel pump. It was very kind. He said the same sentence to me about 16 times in good Aussie mechanic form. He said, "I'm just being honest with you," because he was British. No, he was Australian. What I reckon you should do, I could take it and I could replace the pump after taking the whole fuel tank out and replace the pump, and because the pump's in the fuel tank and it's under 60 psi, and that was when we started talking about PSI. I don't know what PSI stands for. Pressure sinus instigation. No. He said that you should take it to Ford. And I was like, "Oh, that's very kind of you." And he said, "Yeah, what you should do, I could take it off, then I could get into the fuel pump because the fuel pump's in the thing. It's under 60 psi. But I reckon what you should do, I'm just being transparent with you. You should take it to the Ford place and then they can get it done quicker for you." And I'm like, yeah, you already said that. And then we were waiting around for his little device for me to pay him lots of money. And it was booting up. And he's like, yeah, we just got to wait for this to boot up. Boodling, boodling. And then he said, yeah, but I reckon what you should do is you'd take it to Ford, see how you go. They'll be able to do it faster for you. Because if I take it, I'll take the, the tank out and take the pump and put it in. And we won't even know if that's actually what's going to cause the problem. He basically said the same sentence again. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay, let me pay you, please. Let me pay you. Anyway, paid him. That's wonderful. And I think that brings us to the end of the notes. This is the longest video I've ever done. That's not true. I did a 3-hour video about gratitude. Gratitude. Hashtag gratitude. That was really fun talking to all my new Australian mechanic friends. Oh, no! Before Mr. Lazarus came, Zell rang me back. And I answered my phone and it was Zell and he said, g'day? And I said, g'day? He was a young Aussie fellow. He's like, oh, g'day, I got a missed call from you. Got a message saying that my mate Crystal sent you over. And I'm like, Zell! You're the one who fixes cars with crystals! And then there was an awkward silence. One of many. Now, he said this next sentence as if I knew what he was talking about, but he basically said, in the middle of replacing the main Stuka flapper inside the carburetor gasket of the, engine housing basket. He just said random words and expected me to understand them. And I'm like, oh, that sounds complicated. And then he laughed and said, yes, it is complicated. Engine make noise. Brum, brum. Beep, beep. Then I called back the Q Ford people and then I said, can we just drop my car off because we have to go and see my sister-in-law in my brother-in-law's car? There's a lot of lawing going. I should become a lawyer. And he said, yeah, that's totally fine. So there you go. End of story. Now it has come to this time, the end of the video. And if you've made it this far, I appreciate you so much. Hashtag gratitude. So we can just wait around, I think, until the end of the video. I have 6 gigs on my phone and I'm recording this at 1080p, so we could be here for a while. Remember, be kind, be curious. If you want a good chat, just call all the mechanics in your area. They're up for a chat no matter what. And stay awesome. And don't forget to laugh. Oh, I've just realized why people who fix cars are so positive. Because they're mechanics, not mechantics. That's terrible.